You everybody for coming to the Aaron Torres podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen, go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. We got ourselves a little bit of an emergency segment here on the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. You know what's a big deal when Torres has the lid on, when I'm not camera ready. That is because on Thursday morning, we knew that the number one high school offensive tackle in America, Jordan Seaton, was set to make his college announcement. He had a public Final Four of Tennessee, Alabama, Ohio State, and Oregon. And so I'm not going to lie. I was out walking my dog. I figured, you know what? We'll talk about this at some point. I don't need to be camera ready at 11 a.m. Eastern time on a Thursday, because what could possibly happen in this recruitment? Well, we are doing the emergency reaction because Jordan Seaton, number one offensive tackle in high school football, down to four schools, Bama, Tennessee, Ohio State, and Oregon. I just said it. He chose, drum roll please, Jordan Seaton is headed to Colorado. The Colorado Buffaloes, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders did it again. And I'm just here to say this, man. This is the shocker of all shockers, Coach Prime. It is prime time, by the way. Do your boy Torres a favor. Grab your primetime tee. Grab the primetime tee, link in the show description. But I bring it up because this is an all-time shocker. This is as shocking of a commitment as Travis Hunter back in the day. And I'm just going to spend 8, 10, 12 minutes reacting. We'll do kind of a more formal reaction later on. But Jordan Seaton, number one offensive tackle in America. So this is what you need to know about him. First of all, I'll say this. The public recruitment was interesting. And again, this all happened in real time. I'm just reacting off the top of my head. But the public recruitment was really interesting because if you followed this recruitment from the beginning, it seemed as though he kind of liked Colorado. He went out the weekend of the Colorado State game. If you remember, that was peak Coach Prime hysteria. The Rock was there. Lil Wayne was there. So he was out there that weekend. And then a few weeks later, he actually took a second visit. The first one was an unofficial. Then he took an official, and he brought his whole family. And so I'll be honest, when he put out his final, I think he put out 8 about 2 weeks ago, I was kind of surprised because Colorado wasn't in there at all. And then when he put his final 4 out on earlier this week and made his announcement date, you sat there and said, wow, like, nobody really knows where this kid is going to go. And the one thing, I don't claim to be a recruiting expert, but just talking to people in the industry, this was one it felt like you don't have a good feel. Like even the coaching staffs didn't have a good feel for, okay, he's leaning here, he's leaning there. This is where he's going to go. We're out of the picture. We're in the picture. I think everyone was on their heels, but it speaks to the fact that Coach Prime moves in the darkness. Okay. John Calipari said it a few months back about Kentucky recruiting. He said, Lil Wayne told me real G's move in silence like lasagna. That's been Coach Prime on the recruiting trail. But again, I don't know that I'm that shocked because he was out there twice. It seemed as though he enjoyed himself the first time enough to bring the entire family. And so for Coach Prime to pull this off, it's not a stunner, but of course it is a stunner because this kid had a Final Four that did not include Colorado. Now, in terms of the importance, listen, this is as big as any commitment that it's just huge, okay? And I'm not going to oversell it. One player does not make a program. But at the same time, a couple of things stand out. One, this is so obviously a position of need. Offensive line is the number one priority for Coach Prime this whole offseason to get that thing figured out. Last, run offense in college football this year. You had the second most sacks allowed over the course of the season this past year. Only Old Dominion gave up more. I think it was 56 total. So the bottom line, this is such a priority position. It is so important. And by the way, let me say this. I saw a lot of people, oh, well, doesn't really matter. Offensive tackle, he's not going to step in day one and start. Well, why not? Number one offensive tackle last year, Kanan Proctor, starting at Bama. Number one offensive tackle the year before, Kelvin Banks, started as a true freshman at Texas. And the reason that Texas went from good, decent to great this year is because the O-line play got exponentially better. So I can't sit here. I can't lie. I can't make a promise that he is going to play or that he is going to start or that he is going to be a star. But the idea that he can't step in day one and have success, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. This is huge. Beyond that, let me also say this. This is the Coach Prime effect. And I talked about this so much a year ago when he ended up taking the Colorado job just a year or so ago now. I said, look, he is going to be able to get in the living rooms and homes of so many kids because of who he is, what he's about, what he stands for, his success as an NFL player. And I thought it was interesting. If you listened and if you read Jordan Seaton's quotes in the lead up or after the commitment, I thought this specific quote really stood out to me. He said, my favorite thing about that program is probably the head coach. This is according to Steve Wiltfong, 24/7 Sports. He's a gold jacket. He knows what it looks like, and you can see with Shedeur, he knows how to get you to the league. And so listen, this is the Deion effect in real life. This is a guy that played at the highest level, that's coached all over, that knows what NFL talent looks like and knows what it takes to get guys to the next level. You can argue, you can debate, you can whatever. He sent dudes to the league from Jackson State. Travis Hunter is going to be a top 10 pick next year. And so the idea that this guy wasn't going to be able to recruit, not surprised at all. And by the way, again, as recruiting picks up, when he gets in front of family, in front of friends, in front of mom, in front of dad that remember him as a player, boy, oh boy, is it only going to get better from here. Couple thoughts, all this off the top of my head. Big question now to me, who's next? The portal is starting to hum. Now, it's interesting, some of the high school players that have been linked to Coach Prime, King Joseph Edwards, a four-star edge from Georgia, was linked to Colorado. Then the main recruiter, Nick Williams, ends up leaving for Syracuse. Now this kid's linked to Syracuse. But what I will say is, Coach Prime, give him some time. He is going to get a few more kids that you do not know, that you do not think are interested in Colorado, interested in flipping. Watch out for your recruits. It's 9:00 at night. Do you know where your recruits are? You better know, because Coach Prime is coming for him. And beyond that, I also am just so intrigued by the portal. Because look, all these kids go into the portal. They all want to go somewhere where they're going to get NIL, but they also want to go somewhere where they're going to play immediately, have success, get on the field, whatever. And so I bring it up because Colorado can offer all that. The only thing that Colorado doesn't offer is NIL, but this is what makes the Jordan Seaton commitment so interesting. It is so clear that he values the relationship with Coach Prime, what he believes Coach Prime can do for him. And so I'm just fascinated to see who ends up being next. I think Coach Prime is going to pull some surprises in the 2024 recruiting class. I think he's going to pull some surprises in the portal. And finally, let me say this. For everyone's, he's just going to transfer in a year. Listen, do I sit here and have a magic ball, a magic 8 ball that I know what's going to happen a year from now? No, I wish I did. Because to use the old cliche, I'd go buy a bunch of lottery tickets, or I'd go put a bunch of money on black in Vegas, whatever. But at the same time, I don't know what to say to the people that say that. Is when I look at Colorado, I'll go back to something I said a few days ago. Yes, this team was 4-8. Bottom line, they exceeded everybody's expectations, whether you like it or not. Remember, this was a team that was projected to win 3.5 games. They won 4. They ended up exceeding the win total expectation. And the other thing people forget, 5 of their 8 losses were by a touchdown or less. They lost by 6 to Utah, a walk-off field goal to a 9-3 Arizona team. They lost a lead where they had a 29-0 lead against Stanford. And so I'm not here to say Coach Prime made, it was a perfect year for him. It wasn't. Guess what? It wasn't a perfect year for Nick Saban. Wasn't a perfect year for Kirby Smart. Wasn't a perfect year for Jim Harbaugh, certainly. But I do believe that they're a lot closer to being pretty darn good than you think they are. And if they keep getting commits like Jordan Seaton, I don't know what else to say. I'll tell you what, that is the initial reaction. I'm going to come back later today. We'll do the full-fledged, everything you need to know. And more importantly, who could be next. They had an offensive tackle from Oregon that's committed to Oregon on campus last weekend. So we will see. Coach Prime does it again. Cannot believe it. One last thing, by the way. If you listen to this channel, Torres has been putting out Coach Prime content left and right all year long. I believed in it. I believed in the vision. I still believe in it all these months later. Like I said, you want to support me. I've never asked for anything, but Christmas is coming up. Go ahead, grab your Coach Prime tee out of the Aaron Torres store. Prime time, we coming. We also, by the way, had a buddy print up a few hats for me. We got the Coach Prime hats. So link is in the show description. Grab your Coach Prime hat, grab your Coach Prime tee, support Torres. I do nothing but pump out Coach Prime content. I love you. I'll be back later today to react to it. Oh, by the way, subscribe to the channel as well.